All right, we're broadcasting live and direct from the shack. I'm sitting here with Brother Musa, and we got damn, I wish I could. We can cut that in. We got Dirty Dylan's in here with us. We're going to touch on a few different subject matters today. Firstly, starting with hood affairs. Brother Musa, what's your take on hood affairs?
The state of hood affairs right now is it's destructive right now, but not to bash the people, because it's it's easy to talk about problems versus the solution. The thing is, man, most guys that's in between our age brackets, if they not contributing to empowerment and better of the community by being entrepreneurs and things like that, they kind of add to the destruction. And I just feel like the state of hood affairs, I feel like enough guys ain't making their voice heard that's active or more in the community. I'm not in the neighborhood per se as much as I used to be, because
right.
Lifestyle change. But I will use my voice if I do have a voice when it's a situation going on.
Okay. I understand that. You don't get back out into the hood as much. So a lot of your time is basically tied up with what we're doing now, stuff like this, trying to promote positivity as opposed to negative.
Yeah, and I work.
You work now.
I work.
Okay. You want to go back and touch on some subject matters about before you worked, about maybe your history. Give us a little bit of your history. Maybe talk about your recent incarceration.
I can do that.
If you feel like you want to do something about that, we still on hood affairs, everyone. And these things happen in the hood. When he got in trouble, he was dealing with hood affairs. So, elaborate a little bit on that. Touch on that subject for us, so we can know a little bit more about Musa. And you want me to go back to your first name first, your original name, and then get to Musa?
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll go with Tutu. He was known as Tutu in the streets, ladies and gentlemen. So, and was a real street nigga. Was a good guy out there. I've seen him out there, and we've crossed paths here and there. Now, what we want to know is what happened, and how did you get to becoming Brother Musa? We went from Tutu to Musa. Please elaborate on that for us.
Well, it started with my journey. I always been kind of inquisitive, and I come from a community that's surrounded by churches and things like that. So the spiritual aspect always been there. It's just sometimes we just don't follow up on it. But my journey started young, man. You know what I mean? I'm 40. I'm about to be 46. I started running around when I was 12.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was running around, and I was into things when it wasn't cool to be into things.
Right. Jumped off the porch early.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, I was a child. I was part of that generation of childhood kids that got put in place. And no disrespect to nobody, but what people fail to realize with outside of being hustlers, what really opened the door to childhood drug dealing was the fact that you had older guys that was getting high.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, the penalties weren't as severe for, if an adolescent got caught up.
Right.
So my first brush with incarceration, I was 14 years old. I caught a case over in Northside. And I went to 2020. They let me out. Then I had to go do 90 days in the drug program. And that was my first introduction to understanding that drug abuse is a disease.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
and your first encounter with being incarcerated, your freedom being taken away from you. Okay.
And at that time, and I'm gonna skip around to what I'm about to say. And I always tell people this, and me and my girl, we've been going back and forth about this. I always tell people that when you talking to somebody young that make a mistake or they going through something, don't beat them down, but don't keep making them feel like it's all right to make the mistake because you're young. Like you got time to keep doing it. And anybody that been to the penitentiary or any of that, you had somebody, you either had one dude telling you, find you something else to do, or you had another dude telling you, oh man, you all right, you young, man, you got another one in you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So all I'm saying is,
you chose to continue and go on with the streets.
Yeah, I mean,
and it got you into a worse predicament.
But what I'm saying is that predicament went from a 14-year-old dude doing time at 16, 17,
yeah.
18, got out at 21, caught a case, jumped bond, went back in at 24, came out at 29, you understand? And went back in at 31 and came back out 43.
Right.
You understand?
Right. Time. Shit, they should call you time. Damn, I got a partner.
Inside of that, I always
That's a lot of time.
I always been on a spiritual journey though. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like I ain't gonna act like I was a bull of ignorance that I was.
That's a lot of years. Your last bit was what? 14 years?
13.
13 years straight. And then before that, what's your total number of years that you've done?
As a dog.
Just being incarcerated, period. As far as being in trouble with the law. We already know, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you teenagers out here are paying attention and listening. And listen to what the man is telling you. From the age of 12, he jumped off the porch. Then
altogether probably about 21.
21 years of his life incarcerated. Half of his life.
Ain't none of this about no violence neither now.
You see? You hear? Okay.
I ain't shot nothing, killed nothing.
Okay.
Or robbed nothing.
I heard you. Well, I guess that does relate, of course, with hood affairs, and I hope that this information trickles down to the youngsters and the youths that are in these areas. I believe you call them rural areas.
Urban.
Urban?
Yeah, we're in the city.
Okay, rural is out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
That's
Too.
cool.
You know what I mean, bro?
You coming right back?
Yeah, right back.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, we ain't gonna be too long.
I know, I already know. Me neither.
Okay. Yeah, we got a lot going on down here. This is we at High Voltage Studios LLC. We got a lot of things going on down here. We're still under construction, as you can see. We're still under construction, but we're back now. Before we move on from Hood Affairs, we still wanted to get to the title of Musa. So now we know that you've done all this time in the jail, in the justice system. You don't have to have it too drawn out. I'm sure there's something happened to you within the justice system that brought you from Tutu to Musa.
Well, like I said, I always been on a spiritual journey, and I always been searching. Like I went from kindergarten through the 6th grade through Catholic school, and the Christianity, and there's no knock to it because I done seen to straighten a lot of men out too. It just didn't sit well on my heart, and the questions that I need answered never got answered until I got an understanding of Islam. Now, my first introduction to Islam, quite naturally for everybody, is, you know, you see the guys on the corner with the newspapers and the bean pie. But I had an infatuation with Malcolm X. So reading his autobiography, and the fact that my uncle Fonzo, Rahim Allah, may Allah have mercy on him, he was Muslim. So when he got to showing me what was the difference or whatever, and to speed up, when I was around 22 or 23, I took my Kalima Shahada. And your Kalima Shahada is your oath. That's what makes you become a Muslim. You know what I mean? Then everything else.
Yes, I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with that.
You familiar with the
I'm familiar with the Hajj too as well. I do want to take my Hajj. I don't know about the Shahada part yet, but I do want to take the Hajj.
You're not gonna be able to make Hajj unless you're Muslim.
Right, so it does. So if I do take that journey,
You gotta be Muslim. You gotta be Muslim to go to Mecca.
okay. No. You once you get there, they say we born Muslim.
No.
So
Now,
in
see,
all aspects,
hold on.
I am
Hold
Muslim.
on. Now I'm gonna break that down for you. Now the thing is, yes, and I'm not no scholar. I'm not an Islamic scholar, but the thing is, everybody is born Muslim because you're on a fitra, and that means you born in submission. You in a submissive position
Right.
for 9 months in your mother womb.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that come from. But since you want to touch on that, I'm gonna give you a little bit of Islam.
Okay.
And the beautiful thing about Islam is understanding and believing in the angels. So when a child is in his mother's womb, the angel comes down and record how long what the child is gonna be.
That's right.
How long the child is gonna live? Is he gonna be good or is he gonna be from the wicked? And what's gonna be his means?
Right.
You
I'm
know what
familiar
I mean?
with this. I'm familiar
Yeah,
with
okay. But yeah.
My Uncle Nino, Abdul Salam Rahman Rakim, you know,
You got a
my uncle.
long name, brother.
Yeah, Abdul Salam Rahman Rakim, that's his name. It's the
Abdul
guy that be selling
Salam.
the incense. Abdul Salam. He wear the turban with the long white, Big
Oh, yeah.
Nino, got the long, his real name was Nino, it was James Harshaw is his real name.
Right.
And we called him Nino, he's
Right.
Big Nino. And
Okay.
he got the long beard.
Them used to
That's
be the
my
ones
uncle.
up in the face with the fish sandwiches back in the day.
I don't know about the fish.
You remember
sandwich.
them? Remember?
Right, but I don't think he was selling no fish sandwich. He always
Oh.
sold the incense, set up his table, had it work out with the turban, and
Oh, yeah.
Abdul Salam,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'm telling you because he brought us up, and when he was the penitentiary and came home to Moosewood to Bowling Green. My grandma stayed at Bowling Green, so we was always over grandma's house.
Right.
So and he came home and taught us how to make salat. He taught us.
Yeah.
He taught us how to make voodoo
Right.
before you make salat. So I am familiar with what
See,
you're talking about.
And Islam does hold a strong presence in prison, and I'm a firm believer that when it comes to incarceration, jail can be the hospital, it can be the cemetery. You can go there and get well, or you can go there and go and prepare for your fast death or your painful death.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
So this is how we come to Brother Musa, huh? You chose you another name other than a slave name that you
It
use.
ain't even so much of that. Musa is Moses, but in Arabic is Musa, which means
Okay.
saved from the water.
Okay.
So I chose that attribute because when I look at my life, I was drowning.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So Islam saved me from the water.
All right. All thanks and praises. All right then. Well, we've touched on hood affairs. We want to tie too much up about dealing with the streets and being in trouble. Let's talk about Robert Smith Black, entrepreneur. What is your take on these big tycoon type of guys that?
I think my take on them, I think more of us that's even in age or older and younger need to be more in tune to who these guys is. And there's no knock to any entrepreneur, but being that the age that we in now, like everything is moving more towards tech. And I just feel like
Yeah, it definitely is. Robot, tech. They even say, well, I'll wait to get to that. Go ahead, you continue. But don't let me forget that I want to touch on also your opinion on the consciousness being transferred and the freezing of human bodies for the future to revive them. And not only that, the consciousness being transferred to artificial bodies that are lab grown. If you know anything, but we're going to
yeah,
keep
you
going.
just turned me on or something.
Oh, okay, then we'll get back to that on another. That's another.
Yeah.
I'm
But,
sorry. What do you think about Robert?
Robert
Smith.
Smith. I think he's a genius, and the reason why I say that because if you take time and listen in his interviews and his stands and where he is at as far as his way of articulating things and the way he's doing business and what he's trying to bring, to the African American community. You know what I mean? Like, he started out as an engineer and ended up in investment banking and then on to Vistaprint and being a multi-billionaire.
Okay, then you out there like me. I don't know too much about the man.
Yeah, he well, one of the things, and I like how he broke it down, was he paid everybody's student loans off at Morehouse College. But the kicker to it is he didn't want to do it in a certain sense where it was a gift, and then that opened up another door of taxes. Basically, you were paying. He put it into like a trust where you paying into this. So once your career gets started or whatever, like it revolved like that. I'm saying it verbatim because I'm not about to go into his whole interview because you know you can go on YouTube and watch it. But what he did, I believe it was genius because it gives a person a chance to get ahead into their career. But the way he did it, it's almost like kind of almost like crowdfunding. But the thing is, like the way he set it up, just say you out of work.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or just say like a woman, you know, that went to that or whatever. Just say you out of work for a while. It stops instead of keep building debt. And that's one of the things. That's one of the things that's keeping us in debt. And you know he speaks a lot about how we have been held out from certain government programs, loans, and money.
Right. A lot of people are just now getting hip to these different programs.
To be hip to it and understanding and to qualify is two different things.
Well, according to some things that I've heard, is they already have a lease on us on apparently on our birth certificate. Those documents that we're worth over millions of $1 million.
Everybody got to count.
Right. They say we're worth over $1 million, but we don't know how to access this money.
You can't get it. You can't go to the World Bank and say, give you your money.
Okay.
Your Social Security number is how countries take loans, and I could be wrong, but I believe that's one of the reasons why that's one of the reasons they want to stop abortions. I'm pro-life myself, but I just don't believe the government care that much about what a woman do with their body. You understand what I'm saying? But it's a business.
Yeah, I don't think that
it's a business.
I'm not going to say that I'm a supporter of abortion or not.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But if I had to give an opinion on it or give something that I feel personally about abortion is that I don't necessarily would say I would abolish it because it seems like to me it's like you're taking away from your constitutional rights. You know, as if freedom of speech. You know, we have freedom to do what you want to do with your body. You know, but I don't. I'm not saying I condone it, but just look at the bad situations that may happen.
Now we moving into a touchy subject because I was just listening to a girl the other day and she was saying you got to pay attention to what's written in these bills, and one that they proposing that go along is she says the underlying stuff. Everybody only see that at the top. The underlying stuff is at the bottom where they're trying to put it to where, just say you got a 12-year-old child or whatever, and your son woke up one morning and he want to be a girl. You won't have no rights and no say so if he want to go get gender, what's it called?
Right.
So she said, you know, they have a lot of this stuff packed up in them bills.
Yeah, we'll save that for another day.
It's easy to push them something
about this gender stuff because I sure do got a lot of things to talk about. You know, D Wade and what's her name? And what's her name? You know,
Gabrielle
Union. I still like her. I like her as an actress. I do. I don't want to get into it far too much in it, but we do have to come back and touch on this particular subject one day to talk about those two and about them. And we still are basically on the same thing because they're rich. They've got money. They're in influential positions.
What do that mean?
Well, because now listen, because they're influential, they're in front of the camera. People see this. People see that they are condoning the fact that he's admitting that his child isn't what it's supposed to be.
I mean,
or what he's made of. You see what I mean?
I
So
don't know,
so
man. That's
I know it's a very touchy, it's a touchy subject.
That's a wild subject.
I know
man.
we're gonna come back to it though, but I definitely want to touch on that because they're in front of the camera. I don't want to touch on that part of it.
I mean,
I want to say this part about the entrepreneurship, about being in a chief place of the concourse where you got money and you're in front of the camera. You got people watching. You got youngsters watching. You got teenagers watching that want to get changed.
I just feel
They
like
want to change their sexuality.
I just feel like
And
this.
I don't think that's correct. I don't think you should be able to do that.
I just feel like this. As a person, and I can't tell nobody what to do with their kids, but I just feel like that should be a decision that they should wait till the child is, legally aged. Now, if you want to dress up and do all that, that's what you into. But when you talking about doing stuff because the thing is, at the end of the day, and Allah knows best. Because what if one day the child wake up and
That's one of the signs. That's one of the signs of the Most High coming back. He said the baby's gonna come out and you won't be able to tell them apart.
But I read a story about a girl. She was born. I think she had male genitalia too, whatever. But it was messed up. So they did the surgery, but she couldn't figure out why she was so attracted to girls. You understand?
Right. Because she was hermaphrodite. But it was right.
But the thing is, and like you said, I don't want to stay stuck on it too long, man. It's like, it's more in the forefront. Like, we can't play like this stuff ain't always been around. It was taboo years ago. But now, the only thing, I just feel like, what you do is your business. But you shouldn't be able to force your way on nobody else. And that go both ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if I was a person that's homophobic, I don't have no more right to force my belief off on them than they had to force their belief off on me.
No, you just going about your business. You do what you do. I don't think there should be publicly displayed.
I don't.
When you're in a position of power, and you we're dealing with these kids in the hood, come from where we come from, that hope and wish for things that they see that these people have, and they're in these positions and places of power, and you display your business like that. That should be against the law.
Well, first of all,
you shouldn't be able to do that because it influences these other kids.
But first of all, we so far into the information age, right? And the mold that a person can mold their child in, it trickles down from the parent or the guardian or whoever they're around. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
Because if you in an environment like, boom, not to get off the subject, I'm gonna give you a prime example. I just watched this on YouTube this morning, right? 12-year-old little boy. He just got gunned down in the projects in Baltimore. His name was Jalen something or whatever, right?
Okay.
Now it's another lady on there talking. And what she did, her son was 17. She said, I had enough. And she was down there in the projects too. Whatever she put together, she took her and she said, man, I'm getting my son out of Baltimore. But the ill thing about it, right? Now when you see the first part of the story, I'm like, and he's still because he's still a child. But this woman, her son's 17, she said she started crying because she said she just went to that boy mama and told his mama, like, my son's 17, your son's 12. Your son just pulled a gun out on my son. Like, my son could have hurt him, like, you know what I mean? But the situation got cold with her because...
You saying the 12-year-old pulled the gun out?
On her son.
The 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
They moved from Baltimore. She just found out, the news was interviewing her about the story. She just found out the little boy got killed. But what she was saying, she said she went to the boy's mother about him. And after that, her son get jumped. She's like, man, they knocked my son out, jumped him. You know what I mean? Because she claimed they was trying to make him join the gang. You know, that's her story. So she said she went to all them dudes' parents.
Right.
They did something to her son.
Right.
And she said, ain't none of them want to hear it. Because she said they was too concerned about going out, clubbing, drinking, smoking.
Okay.
So she said the lab, but right what finally made her move from Baltimore was her daughter called her and it was telling her, "Mom, you gotta hurry up and get down to the school." So say she hurry up and get down, and said she had to wrestle gun away from her son because he went back to school looking for them boys. You know what I mean? But that's a whole nother situation, though.
Yeah. Okay. And we're gonna get to that too. We're gonna get to the state of violence in the black community and solutions instead of the problem. So we see what the problems are. Let's talk about the solutions to the state of violence in the black community.
One of the solutions to me is, first, we done got to this point where it's a lack of character. Because for a person to have a small altercation that leads to gunplay shows a lack of character and bad judgment. And the thing is, you have more people that remove themselves from the community that was, quote unquote street guys, because a lot of the youth now, they highly emotionally fueled. And no disrespect to no single mother that raised a child or whatever, but 9 times out of 10, if you got an angry mother, you're gonna have an angry little dude that you set out here that don't know how to start. That don't know how to stop when he get in the conflict.
He gonna be worse.
And the thing is, the conversation now, I look at it like this. The swag in now is to be a killer. So the thing is, for these young guys or whoever that's into that for no apparent reason or want to be a hired gun, the thing is, if it go bad for you, and by the time you ain't got no social media clout, you might be 10, 11 years in prison, and then you finally wake up and figure out you ain't never going home. But to me, the solution is, to me, more so along the lines of conversation, because it's a lack of communication, and there ain't even no point to talk about gun control, because they ain't gonna never stop that. That's the American way. Guns is American as apple pie. But I mean, to me, the solution is, I think, to have a more civil conversation, and like I think I said before, on when we first started shooting, man, don't put yourself in a position for somebody to be trying to gun for your life. If you owe somebody, pay them. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we all wake up with the same opportunity every day. To either add equity to your life, you know what I mean, or lose equity. And me personally, I'd rather be by myself before I spend my day around or with somebody that's not going to add equity to my life. You know what I mean? So a lot of the stuff in the community, man, has been, I live that life from a child all the way up to adult. Like, I'm past it. You know what I mean? I hit and miss. I slide through, see the people I love, and keep it pushing. I want to be around just enough for you to love to see me coming than to hate me being around.
Right.
Well, yeah, I think the solution is conversation, man.
Conversation.
And at the end of the day, I can't say it no more. If you're 40 years old and still standing on the corner, man, you really got an issue. You got an issue.
We got some die-hard hustlers and niggas that's been doing that's just what they do.
All I'm saying,
they might even be hustlers. They just hang on the corner. They like hanging on the corner.
But this the thing, though. Now, this the thing. Okay, you there. You done been around. But at the same time, if you hanging right there and all this going on, what is you adding? Is you adding to the fuel, or is you trying to put the fire out? You understand?
Right.
And that's one of the problems right there. You know what I mean? Like, because the thing is, ain't nobody tell me the truth when I was young and I was around an older dude that I can be stuck like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Not. Oh damn! She went up off this chair. Man.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody explain that to me. I'll be in my 40s before I start getting up doing a full day's work and understanding that.
Right.
I mean, I knew better, but I didn't do better. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, there it is. We've touched on a few bases. We've touched on a few different subjects. And we're going to sign on off here. We hope you all had a good interpretation and understanding of what's just been said. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Brother Musa?
Yeah, just send them likes and leave comments, man. If y'all want more content, we trying to put it together. The next time we go on, I think we're gonna try to pull a few business owners in. You understand, and start doing this thing right. Cause I'm just a voice.
I heard you.